There is a narrative in our society, a story we've been told so many times that we've accepted it as a fact. The story is that aging is a process of inevitable decline. It's a slow, steady fade. It starts with a new ache in your back in the morning, then it's a stiffness in your knees that makes you pause before taking the stairs. It's the brain fog that steals a name from the tip of your tongue. It's the prescription bottles that begin to line the bathroom counter. One by one, we've been taught that this is the non-negotiable price of a long life, that the best we can do is to manage this decline, to take it easy, to act our age and to find a comfortable chair. But what if that entire story is a lie? What if that slow fade, that stiffness, that fog, and that frailty are not an inevitable consequence of aging, but the direct result of a profound misunderstanding? What if the solution to stopping, and in many cases reversing this decline, isn't found in a complex 20-step wellness plan or a handful of expensive pills? What if the solution is a single, simple, 5-minute ritual? A ritual so simple, in fact, that it is almost universally ignored by seniors precisely because it isn't new, it isn't flashy, and it isn't being sold to you. This is the great paradox of health in our later years. We are so busy looking for the complex fix that we have completely overlooked the simple truth, a truth that has been written into our biology for millennia. Over the course of this video, we are going to explore this one simple ritual. We're going to deconstruct why it is so powerful, and we're going to reveal the 3 profound and life-altering health changes that begin to happen almost immediately when you finally stop ignoring it and embrace it. And I promise you, when you see what this ritual is and how it works, your entire perspective on aging will change forever. So, to understand the solution, we must first understand the problem. And the problem is not time. The problem is comfort. Our modern world is a masterpiece of convenience. We have remote controls so we don't have to get up, electric can openers so we don't have to twist, escalators so we don't have to climb, and a culture that tells seniors, "You've earned a rest, take it easy." But our bodies, our ancient biological hardware, interpret this comfort and this rest in a very different and very terrifying way. The human body is the ultimate adaptation machine. Its one guiding principle is use it or lose it. It will not waste a single calorie maintaining a system it doesn't think it needs. So when you take it easy, when you avoid all physical struggle, when you stop challenging your system, you are sending a loud, clear, and devastating signal to your body. The signal is, I am no longer needed. The fight is over. You can begin the decommissioning process. And your body, in its infinite wisdom, says, message received. And it begins to decay. It stops repairing cells efficiently, and it starts to scavenge your most metabolically expensive tissue, your muscle. This is the slow fade we've been talking about, and it is a choice, not a guarantee. The simple 5-minute ritual we are going to discuss is the only thing that sends the opposite signal. It is the one habit that screams to your body, I am still here. I am still fighting. I need you to be strong, resilient, and ready. It is the on switch for repair, rejuvenation, and life. And in the next block, I'm going to reveal what this ritual is and the first immediate chemical change that floods your body. A change that cools inflammation and literally builds a younger brain, all in the first 5 minutes. I'm curious, what is the one part of aging that you refuse to accept? Is it the stiffness, the weakness, or the brain fog? Share it in the comments below.
So we've established that the slow fade of aging is not a function of time, but a function of comfort, and that to reverse it, we must send a new signal, the signal of I am still needed. So what is this one simple, ignored 5-minute ritual? The ritual is not a new food, it's not a pill, and it's not gentle stretching. The simple, ignored ritual is 5 minutes of intentional, physical struggle. It's the habit of resistance, of pushing or pulling against a force that is difficult for you, just for 5 minutes. This is the biological principle of hormesis, the idea that a brief, intense, and recoverable stressor is what actually triggers the body's internal repair, rejuvenation, and strengthening pathways. And the first profound health change that happens when you start this ritual, the one that happens almost immediately, is cognitive rejuvenation. I'm not starting with muscle, I'm starting with your brain, because this is the change that nobody, absolutely nobody, is talking about. For decades, we've treated the body in silos. We have neurologists for the brain, an orthopedist for the bones, and we have completely failed to see that they are all one interconnected system and that the muscles are the master regulator. Here is the simple, ignored truth. Your brain's health is directly dependent on the conversations it has with your body, and your muscles scream the loudest. When you perform this 5-minute ritual of struggle, when your muscles contract forcefully, they are not silent. They are an endocrine organ. They are a chemical factory. They release powerful hormone-like proteins into your bloodstream called myokines. You can think of these as hope molecules, and they are the opposite of the inflammatory molecules, cytokines, that cause so much damage. These myokines travel throughout your body, but some of them do something incredible. They cross the blood-brain barrier. They enter your brain and act as a powerful anti-inflammatory. They literally cool the fire in your brain, the fire that contributes to that foggy feeling. But they also carry a message. They tell your brain to grow. The struggle in your muscles triggers the release of a magical compound called BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. Scientists call this Miracle-Gro for the brain. BDNF is the compound that tells your brain to repair damaged neurons and build new ones. It helps you form new memories. It makes your mind faster, clearer, and sharper. This is neurogenesis, the creation of new brain cells, and it is directly triggered by the simple ignored 5-minute ritual of physical struggle. So, that is the first change. You are literally building a younger, faster, more resilient brain. This is why this is so ignored, because no one told you that your muscles were your brain's pharmacist. They just told you to take it easy. And in doing so, they told you to shut down your entire pharmacy. But I know the roadblock. I know the barrier that just popped into your head. I can't do squats. I can't struggle. My knees are stiff. My back aches. It hurts. And that stiffness is the true barrier, isn't it? It's the ball and chain that makes this simple solution feel impossible. But what if you could support your body's ability to rehydrate and nourish that joint tissue from within? There's some fascinating science on how specific nutrients can help restore that feeling of lightness and flexibility. I've placed a link to this unique approach in the first pinned comment for anyone who feels stuck and wants to move with that youthful ease again. Because once that barrier is gone, this entire world of rejuvenation opens up. And this cognitive change, this rebuilding of your brain, is only the first change. The second change is what happens to your engine. What if this simple ritual could fix your metabolism, reverse the #1 disease of aging, and melt the fat from your midsection? In our next block, I'm going to reveal this second, profound change, the one that can save you from a bottle of pills. If this idea that your muscles are your brain's pharmacy is new to you and you found it valuable, please take a second to hit that like button. It helps more people discover this ignored truth.
We have just uncovered the first, profound, and immediate change that happens when you start this simple 5-minute ritual of resistance. You turn your muscles into a pharmacy for your brain, flooding your system with anti-inflammatory hope molecules and the Miracle-Gro for your brain, BDNF, which clears the fog and builds new neural pathways. This alone is a complete game changer. But I promised you it was just the beginning, because you haven't just rebooted your brain, you are now about to fix your engine. This brings us to the second profound health change, the one that can reverse the single most common disease of aging and fundamentally change your body composition. I am talking about the reversal of insulin resistance and the melting away of that stubborn, dangerous, visceral belly fat. Now, why is this change so ignored? It's ignored because of the greatest misconception in all of health. For decades, we have been told that to lose weight and fix our metabolism, we must do cardio. We must walk or jog or cycle. We've been told to burn calories. But this is a deeply flawed model.
It's like trying to bail water out of a sinking boat instead of plugging the hole. The simple 5-minute ritual of resistance plugs the hole. And here's how. To understand this, you must stop thinking of your muscles as just lifting tools. Your muscle tissue is your body's primary metabolic organ. It is a massive storage tank, a giant fuel reservoir for all the carbohydrates, glucose, you eat. In a healthy person with decent muscle mass, when you eat a meal, that glucose goes into your bloodstream and your muscles, like a giant, thirsty sponge, soak up over 80% of that glucose, storing it as glycogen to be used for energy later. This keeps your blood sugar low and stable, your energy even, and your fat storage minimal. This is a healthy, flexible metabolism. Now, let's look at what happens when you ignore this ritual. When you live in that culture of comfort, year after year, as you take it easy, your body, sensing no need for this expensive tissue, scavenges it. Your muscle mass shrinks. This means your giant fuel tank gets smaller and smaller and smaller, year after year, until it's just a tiny, thimble-sized tank. But here's the problem. You're still eating the same amount of food. You're still eating that healthy sandwich, or that bowl of pasta, or that piece of fruit. So the glucose from that meal floods your bloodstream, but it finds a tiny, already full fuel tank. The muscle is gone. The sponge is small and saturated. The sugar has nowhere to go. This is a biological emergency because high blood sugar is toxic to your nerves, your eyes, and your blood vessels. Your body, in a panic, forces your pancreas to pump out more and more of the storage hormone, insulin, to try and cram that toxic sugar anywhere it can. And where does it go? The muscle tank is full. The liver tank is full. Insulin has only one option left: to convert all of that excess sugar into fat and store it in the one place it can always be stored, as visceral belly fat. This is insulin resistance. This is the root of type 2 diabetes. This is why seniors get that pot belly even when they are eating healthy and walking every day. They are walking, but they are not plugging the hole. So what happens when you start the simple 5-minute ritual of resistance? The simple act of making a muscle work for just 5 minutes, of forcing it to struggle, immediately makes that muscle hungry for fuel. It's like wringing out the sponge. The muscle says, "I've just used my stored glycogen to fuel the struggle. I must refill." And it immediately opens up its fuel doors and becomes sensitive to insulin again. So the next meal you eat, that glucose in your blood now has a place to go. It is sucked up by that hungry muscle instead of being converted to fat. This is the profound change. You are repartitioning your food. You are telling your body, stop storing fat and start refueling muscle. This is how that belly fat melts. It's not burned by cardio. It's stopped at the source by giving your food a proper home. This is the change that can reverse type 2 diabetes and fix your metabolism. And it's all driven by this simple, ignored ritual. Have you been struggling with that stubborn belly fat or been told you are pre-diabetic even while trying to eat right? Share your frustration in the comments. You are not alone. So, we have fixed your brain, cognition, and we have fixed your engine, metabolism. This is already a new life, but there is a third and even more fundamental change, one that we started this video by talking about: the stiffness, the frailty, the falls. What about your frame itself? What if this simple ritual was also the most powerful anti-frailty insurance on the planet? In our final block, I am going to reveal this hidden conversation and how this ritual can make you unbreakable.
We have now established 2 revolutionary, life-altering changes that happen when you start this simple 5-minute ritual of resistance. First, you rebuild your brain, turning your muscles into a pharmacy that floods your system with anti-inflammatory hope molecules, and the Miracle-Gro for your brain, BDNF, which clears the fog and builds new neural pathways. Second, you re-engineer your engine, forcing your muscles to become fuel tanks again, which reverses insulin resistance, stabilizes your metabolism, and tells your body to stop storing belly fat and start refueling your muscles. This is already a new life, but I promised you a third and perhaps most fundamental change, the one that answers the problem of stiffness, frailty, and falls. I promise to show you how this ritual makes you unbreakable. This is the third profound change, the structural rejuvenation. This is the change that rebuilds your very frame. Now, why is this change so ignored? It's ignored because of the greatest contrast in all of health advice. Let's talk about falls and osteoporosis. What is the one thing every senior fears? It is the fall, the slip on the rug, the stumble on the curb that leads to the catastrophic independence-stealing hip fracture. And what have we been told for 50 years is the key to preventing this? It's calcium. Drink your milk, take your calcium supplements, get your vitamin D. We have been obsessed with the materials for bone, but we have completely, tragically ignored the signal to use those materials. Here is the simple biological truth. Your bones are not dead, static pieces of chalk. They are living, dynamic, intelligent tissues. They are constantly in a state of remodeling, with one set of cells, osteoclasts, dissolving old bone, and another set, osteoblasts, building new bone. What tells the builder cells to get to work? What is the foreman's command to build? It is force. It is stress. It is load. Your bones only become stronger when they are told they need to be stronger. And where does that signal come from? It comes from your muscles. Your muscles are anchored to your bones by tendons. When a muscle contracts forcefully, as it does in this 5-minute ritual of struggle, it pulls on that anchor point. It tugs on the bone. This physical tug is a mechanical signal. It is literally the on switch for your osteoblasts. It's a message that says, we are under load. We need to be stronger. And your bones respond by grabbing calcium and minerals from your blood and depositing them, making the bone denser and stronger. This is a biological law known as Wolff's law. Bone adapts to the load placed upon it. Now let's see what happens when you ignore this ritual, when you take it easy. As your muscles weaken, that powerful tug becomes a gentle pat. And eventually it becomes nothing at all. The on switch for your bone builder cells is never flipped. The foreman never shows up. The osteoblasts go to sleep. But the dissolving cells, the osteoclasts, they keep working. And the net result is that you are losing more bone than you are building, day after day, year after year. This is why seniors still get osteoporosis even when they are drinking gallons of milk and taking handfuls of calcium pills. They have a garage full of bricks, calcium, but the entire construction crew, muscles, has been fired. There is no signal to use the bricks. But it's not just about the bone. It's about the fall itself. Why do seniors fall in the first place? We think it's just bad luck or losing balance. The truth is, it's a neurological failure, a failure that starts decades earlier. When you stop challenging your muscles, you don't just lose the muscle tissue. The nerve pathways from your brain to those muscles begin to go dormant. Your brain literally starts to forget how to fire those muscles quickly and forcefully. It's like the wires in an old house becoming corroded. The signal gets slow and weak. So when you stumble on a rug, your brain sends the catch yourself signal, but the signal is so slow that by the time it arrives at your leg muscles, you are already on the ground. The 5-minute ritual of daily resistance, even just bodyweight squats, is not just a muscle exercise. It is neurological training. It forces your brain to reconnect those dormant pathways. It cleans the corrosion off the wires. It makes that signal fast and powerful again. This is the anti-frailty insurance. This simple ritual makes you unbreakable in 2 ways. It rewires your brain so you are faster and less likely to fall, and it rebuilds your bones so they are stronger and less likely to break if you do. That is the third profound change. So let's bring it all back. Let's look at the total transformation. This is the circularity. This is the answer to the question we asked at the very beginning. That slow fade, that stiffness, that brain fog, that frailty, it is not inevitable. It is the direct result of ignoring this one simple 5-minute ritual. When you start this ritual, everything changes. your brain fog and energy change because your muscles become a chemical factory that cools inflammation and releases Miracle-Gro for your brain. Your metabolism and body shape change because your muscles wake up and start soaking up fuel, stopping fat storage at its source, and your stiffness and frailty change because your brain is rewired for balance and your bones are signaled to rebuild. This is the simple, ignored truth. The fountain of youth is not a myth, it is a muscle. And the on switch for it is the simple 5-minute ritual of struggle. And if this message, if this new perspective on aging has empowered you today, then please hit that subscribe button. Our entire mission is to uncover these simple, ignored truths that give you back control. Because now that you understand what this simple ritual is and why it changes everything, in our next video, we are going to explore the how. We'll reveal the 3-minute morning routine, the 3 safest, simplest, and most effective struggle exercises you can do the moment you get out of bed to start this rejuvenation process tomorrow.